Hello, my name is Carlos Erban, and I'm gonna try to see if I can break the record on reading your whole manual in 15 minutes. Okay, so let's start with a camera body. What are the important buttons here? So this one, when you press, and I'm looking here right now at the number 2, when you press on this button, it allows you to turn the wheel. The wheel will allow you to go to, well, there must be another place where I can show you, but that's what basically allows you to go to single shot, continuous high, and so on, but we'll see that in a second. Then here, this button number 3, that's the quality, so you can go raw, JPEG, the different JPEGs, both raw and JPEG, if you want to do dual spot. White balance, this button, leave it pressed, and you can turn the main wheel. So to refer to this wheel in the back, I'm going to call it main wheel, and this one the sub wheel or sub menu, whatever. But this is the main wheel, so just turn the main wheel and you can change the different white balances. ISO, same thing, press it here and then turn the wheel. Bracketing, press it here and you start going here, and you can go from from 3 pictures to 9 pictures, and then if you turn the sub one, it will let you go through a third of a stops all the way to 1 stop. Control panel. Oh my god, this is unreadable. Well, the control panel is this thing, right? So usually when you have it on, the most important thing is to be able to see the exposure, what white balance are you on, what type of mode, if you're the quality, then the mode if you're in manual, shutter speed. This is how many pictures are left. My god, this is completely unreadable. This is if you have it on HDR. This is not much better. So on your viewfinder display, here if it's in focus, the metering, the auto exposure lock, or the other one that is locked. Here is the exposure, to expose, underexpose, bracketing, all the auto ISO functions, which I never use auto ISO. This is your flash compensation, exposure compensation, how many pictures you have left. This K, I don't know what it is. Let's see. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose time. Oh, when you have over 1,000 exposures? No. That's in the auto ISO. No wonder why I've never seen it. Here you have all of your focus points. Okay, this over here, this number 4, and this one over here is when you have the virtual horizon in the viewfinder, which I find very useful. Here is your information display. So this is in the back. This is basically has all the things that are in the control panel. I actually like it better to see it here because it's bigger. Okay, that's just the cover. Okay, setup menu, format card. The stuff that is obvious I'm not even gonna go over. Okay, here you can clean your image sensor. It gives you several options if you want to do it now, when you turn off the camera, and so on. Image dust off from a reference photo. I've never used that. Lockup mirror if you want to clean your own sensor. This is the HDMI output, the flicker reduction. I always leave it in auto. If there is some fluorescent light or something, it should be in auto. Camera menus, it just tells you, to turn the wheel up and down, or left and right. Nothing here important. Let's see. Well, when you're in the menu, you turn left, then it allows you to go back to the previous menu. Changing the battery, I assume you know how to do that. Just open the slot and change it. Insert the battery. Okay, basic photography, playback, turn the camera on, ready, focus, shoot. Oh, this, hold it, focus. Okay, so finally we're getting stuff that is important. So when you're in the viewfinder, okay, when you have this, first of all, when I have it in focus, I like it to beep. But if you don't have it in beep, or you want to make sure that it's focused, then you have this solid circle. The focus point, if it's this or this alone, that means that it's not in focus. If these two are blinking, that means the camera is unable to focus. Usually that happens when it's dark or so on. And this one you may have to go to manual focus. By the way, when you're in manual focus, this works the same way. So, this will tell you if it's in focus or not. What else is here? Oh, well, if you go left and right, then, and this is when you're viewing the photos in play, then you can go obviously to the previous or the other photo, but up and down allows you to see the different modes, which is with the histogram, you know, the settings. There is one with the blinkies, which is very, very useful. Deleting unwanted photos. Well, he just asks you if you want to delete it or not. Okay, so this is important. All the autofocus functions are done by pressing this button. Okay, when you press and this is in live view. Well, in live view or not in live view, this is the button you need to press, and the main command dial will give you the different options. I don't really, you know, the live view you can do automatically to do the faces. The only thing I do in live view really is when I'm doing a macro, and when you do a macro, that's usually I do it in manual focus. Just magnify as much as, oh, here it is. So magnify as much as possible, and then make sure that it's in focus, and then use your timer remote. The movie, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the movies because this is something I'm assuming most of your photographers are not going to use too much the movie settings. The only thing I'll tell you about the movie settings is that just go through it. It's very self-explanatory. You have the audio, the microphone, you can put automatic or not. I usually put it high sensitivity. In terms of when you shoot video, you can do the automatic modes, but what's recommended when you do videos is that you put it in manual, 60th of a second, then you decide what depth of field, just like in pictures. Usually you want to go not so wide, because, you know, open the lens too much, because then it's difficult to focus, especially if you're doing manual focus. So your ISO becomes the most important, and you can see here in the view display if it's exposed enough or not. So that's what else? Image area. Okay, image area, this is important. So when you're in the, oh well, this is for the movies mode, but even in the picture mode, the image area basically is what allows you to change from full frame to crop sensor. Movie settings, editing, no, this is not important. I'm gonna go to the most important things here, which is the autofocus. Okay, so you press a button here, you have your single servo, which is for stationary objects, your continuous servo, which is for moving subjects to stay in focus, and you press here and you turn the wheel, and basically you will see that it gives you the different options. Okay, then you will see that when you are in the first of all, I don't use autofocus. I do either single, which allows me to do single pointer auto, and I have it in single, or I have it in continuous, or what they call here dynamic. I don't know why they have a different name. If it's called AFC, this is dynamic, where you can have a single point, 9 points, 21 points, or 51 points, and then you focus the point where you want the subject, and basically the camera will continue focusing. 3D tracking, then basically what it means is that you focus on the subject and the camera automatically, the point will move, tracking the subject. I never use that, but some people like to use it. So how do you focus? This again is the most important thing. You select the focus point, you know, you can move these all these points, and then you have two ways to focus. You can either press the shutter button halfway, or you can do it through the back button, or both. I like to use the back button, some people use the shutter button. You can lock the oh, here it is. So you can lock the focus here. This is, and again, they do this so confusing, because here this AFL is like the auto exposure lock, but really you either do it here or this one here, which is the AF on. Okay, let's see what else is here. So you can leave it pressed halfway, and then when you move the camera to recompose, it will stay in focus. Okay, manual focus, everybody knows how to manual focus. I mean, this is again something that you do when you do macros and stuff like that. Release mode. Okay, so this is what I was trying to show you before. The picture didn't allow me to show. You have to press this button so this wheel moves. So it goes single, continuous low, which is 3 pictures. You can set it for more, but that's usually what it is. High, which can be 5 or 6 pictures depending what you're using. The quiet mode, so that it doesn't make any noise, and then the self timer. Oh, you also have the mirror up mode if you don't want the check of the camera, but you know, I don't know, I use a remote or a timer. I don't use a mirror. Auto ISO I don't use. This is basically the camera decides what ISO depending on your aperture and your shutter speed. Some people like that. I don't do that. Metering. Well, this is your different metering options. I think everybody who uses Nikon knows. Matrix is the average of everything. Center weight is the average of the center. Spot is based on what you're pointing. Program mode, aperture, manual. Everybody knows what that is. So let's see. Exposure compensation. So if you're doing aperture priority, you can do here the exposure compensation. Bracketing. Well, just when you do the bracketing, you'll see you have the options of many pictures you want, and also for how many stops. Fine-tune white balance. If you want to fool with this, be my guest. I usually use either these, or I go to the you know, to the Kelvin, and then just put the Kelvin that I want. I don't touch, you know, I don't touch the regular settings. So yeah, here you can choose the color temperature, but I don't change the defaults. Picture controls, I like to leave it in standard neutral because I'm shooting raw, so I want what I see in the back of, you know, when I review the picture to be as similar as raw as possible. Flash photography, most of this stuff is for the built-in flash. So here you pop up the flash, you can go through the different modes, you know, the high-speed sync, I mean red eye, the front curtain, slow curtain, rear curtain, flash compensation. I'm assuming you probably have a speed light, so this is not very important. Let's go through the menus. What's important in the menu? So I only have 3 minutes. Out of focus. Okay, let's see what are the things that I change. When you're in continuous, I like to have it in focus. Most people have it in release. That means that you want it to focus first before it starts taking the shot. Single, I leave it the same way. Wraparound, I don't like. Wraparound means that when you get here and you keep going, you come out on the other side. I don't like that. Focus points, what would you have? Less than 51 if you want to use all of them. AF illuminator, unless you don't want any light to come out, I mean, this is the way to focus. Or if you're doing manual focusing. All these steps, leave them in a third. I don't touch any of that. Timers. Well, you know, again, the timers, it all depends. You can put it for 10 seconds if you need to run and you're part of the group, or, you know, you change it. This is important, the number of shots. If you're using your self timer for bracketing, then depending on how many bracketing shots, then you change it here. What else do we have here? This is when you go to high-speed sync, make sure you have it either on auto FP for 320th or 250. 320th is if you're using the Nikon system. Other systems usually have to go to the 250th. Then you have all the switches. I use all the switches, I leave them on. I want to be able to see from the back. Here you can assign the buttons. This one I have assigned for so that I can change meterings, and this one I have it for the virtual horizon. Then you have your movie buttons. I don't touch the indicators. Well, this is just formatting your camera. The only thing here important, auto image rotation. I prefer to, when I look at the picture, if I want to see it vertical, I just turn the camera. I don't want it to do it automatically. Battery info. Copyright, I like to put my copyright in the camera. A fine-tune, that is if your lenses, you want to do some fine-tuning. I don't dare to touch that, but some people do fine-tuning of their lenses. Make sure you have the right firmware. I think we're done. The rest is the troubleshooting, but we pretty much have gone through the whole menu. So thank you very much, and if there is something that I missed or you have a question, just put it in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer it. Goodbye. Thanks.